No matter how well you train, the outcome of your upcoming race is not guaranteed. This is because you need to develop the one critical skill required for race day. So this video will show you 2 ingredients that make up this skill, along with 3 things you can apply to your training this week so you can achieve the perfect race.
If you don't run the perfect race, a certain percentage of the potential that you arrived with was wasted.
This is Matt Fitzgerald, and chances are you've come across at least one of his running books. But he's just mentioned on the Run Smarter podcast his new book on how to run the perfect race, with that one critical skill revealed in the subtitle, Better Racing Through Better Pacing. The term pacing refers to how you distribute your energy and effort throughout the entire distance. For instance, one pacing strategy might be to conserve energy at the start, opening up the possibility to accelerate at the end. Or vice versa, starting at a challenging pace and trying to hold on for as long as you can. And after Matt's long career as a running coach, here is what he said about the way we runners pace our races.
Absolutely everyone sucks at it. No one's born knowing how to swim, and no one is born knowing how to pace.
So with the help of Matt and his new book, let's go through the 2 ingredients for the perfect pace strategy.
Let's just say you have 10,000 kilojoules of energy that you can distribute. What they find is like the more erratic you are, the slower your finish time is. And I'm not talking about pace. Pace only stands in for energy when you're talking about like pristine conditions, like completely flat, windless, no sharp turns, no bodies in your way.
Here is the pacing of a typical marathon runner when compared to a world-class runner. And this stacks up in the research too. I found 3 compelling research papers all concluding that an even pace strategy will produce superior results. But as Matt mentioned earlier, when we say even pace, we really mean an even distribution of energy or effort. So if your race has hills or sections with a headwind, don't try to keep to an even pace because you'll be burning too many matches too early. So with that in mind, for simplicity's sake, let's move forward pretending we're talking about a flat terrain with perfect weather conditions. So we want our splits to be even, but how do we decide how fast to run if we want to run the perfect race?
Like what you're trying to do is distribute your effort very, very consistently throughout the race in such a way that you hit your absolute perceptual limit just as you're approaching the finish line. Put those 2 things together, you got a perfect race.
Let's go back to the pacing of this professional runner who finished the marathon in 2 hours, 1 minute and 41 seconds. You'll see in the final stretch, there isn't a slowing of pace. This is because he still has enough energy. But there isn't an acceleration either, because his allocated pace has created so much fatigue at the end that he simply cannot go any faster. This runner has perfected the art of finding his limit, which is the second ingredient. So what does this mean for you? If we put your perfect race on a chart, your work rate should be completely flat. And if it's pristine conditions, pace should also be as even as possible. And when we graph your effort, it should look like this throughout the race and finish close to your maximum. Okay, Brody, I get the concept, but you still haven't told me how fast my pace should be. For that, let's go back to Matt.
You don't start with the finish time and calculate the pace. You start with the pace and see what finish time that results in.
For the most part, this is going to fall back on experience. If you go through one training cycle and race one race, you now have a reference point. And then, based on how everything goes in your second training cycle, you hopefully have a more accurate pacing estimate for your second race and use that as another reference point.
I had a lot of marathon training cycles. I know what I did in the cycle that led to my PB, and then I know what I'm doing now.
So for every training cycle, pay attention to your easy runs, long runs, hard runs, and register how you feel in the moment and compare that to how you felt in previous training cycles. This will provide a good rangefinder on how aggressively you might want to tackle race day. And if this is your first race, unfortunately, you have no previous race day data, and so your pace strategy is more like a guess. But we can take a slightly more educated guess based on your pace of your long runs, some online race predictor calculators, and trying to reference your training with others who have raced before. However, if this is your first race, don't give yourself high expectations. Take this as a learning experience and an opportunity to gather some data. And if you are too aggressive or too conservative, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of your long running career, as Matt explains.
So what if you're wrong? Big deal. My very first marathon, I set out to run 2:45, and I ran 3:38. I was on 2:45 pace for 18 miles, and then I was walking. But, I learned. But there really is no other way. That's what gets you on a trajectory toward your perfect race.
So let's recap. Your pacing strategy is to evenly distribute your effort and, through trial and error, find your limits and hone in on a pace that will get your perceived effort close to 10 out of 10 at the finish line. Next, let's cover 3 domains you can work on right now to sharpen the skill of pacing. Matt discusses these in his book, and the first one is having more body awareness. Body awareness is about consistently interpreting your body's signals and asking the question, based on what my body is telling me, can I sustain this effort level for the remaining distance?
If the limit is perceptual, then you have to be good at perceiving. It's no accident that you feel different when you're running at your 5K race pace than you feel when you're lying in bed. That is like the gold mine of very relevant information that your body is giving you.
So increasing your body awareness takes time and experience. But if you commit to deliberate practice to enhancing your body awareness, you can accelerate your gains way quicker than experience alone. Here is what you do. At least once a week, do a mindfulness body scan at rest. One of my favorite apps is Insight Timer, which has hundreds of guided meditations and body scans. Next, pick 1 to 2 runs per week and go through a similar body scan when running. You can do this without listening to anything, or you can use apps like Headspace, which have dedicated mindfulness tracks for runners. However, don't just do this throughout the entire run. You'll get mentally exhausted way too quickly. Instead, spend a few minutes doing a formal scan to gather some data in different moments of the week. For example, when going up a hill, or during your hard running efforts, or at the end of your long run when you're the most fatigued. Within a few weeks, you'll be better tuned into your breathing, signs of fatigue, signs of freshness, and then you'll be better equipped to act upon these signals on race day. Which leads me into the second domain to sharpen your skill of pacing, and that is judgment.
A well-executed race, pacing-wise, nothing more than a series of decisions. Speed up, slow down, hold steady. Speed up, slow down, hold steady. You are or should be fine-tuning, like making all these little micro decisions along the way.
So for your race to go perfectly, you need to listen to your body signals, which results in a lot of good decisions and very few bad decisions. If that is achieved, you have good judgment. But apart from interpreting your body signals, there are other things you can do which can help make better judgments on race day. The first is pre-planning. Make a conscious decision ahead of time on pace targets or what to do if there are unexpected changes in weather, or how you will approach your fueling strategy. You can also make better judgments if you are better at controlling your emotions. Pushing your limits on race day is going to hurt, and negative emotions can easily creep in, making it nearly impossible to reach your true limit. So as Matt says, you'll perform better if you keep your emotions within a neutral to positive range and out of the negative zone. You can do this by catching negative thoughts early and then overriding them. Accept the fact that being uncomfortable is a necessary part of a perfect race, and shift your focus towards something positive. Embrace the energy of the crowd, support runners around you, appreciate the fact that you get to run these races in the first place. This gets you in a better frame of mind, which will lead to better decision making. But let's be clear, the discomfort is still there. And in the hardest moments of your race, sometimes you just have to grit your teeth and push through it. Which is why the third way you can get better at pacing is by building on your toughness.
Let's just face it, it's a hard sport and you got to be tough. Like, it pays to be tough, and all of us can get tougher.
Matt writes, saying within the running population, some athletes are willing and able to suffer more than others, and only those who are willing to suffer the most realize their full potential in races. You can instantly get more toughness by finding ways to boost your motivation. Some simple things can be setting clear goals and tracking your progress, racing for a charity, training and racing with a group, and importantly, finding a deep-seated reason why you're running in the first place. That's what you'll keep reminding yourself of when those moments get tough. The second way to build toughness is by doing tough things in training. As Matt put it, mental toughness requires repeated exposure to challenging and stressful situations that test our toughness. An example that Matt gave was a running workout that involves 6 by 1 mile repeats, with the first 5 repeats being at a 10k pace, and then the last mile as an all-out effort. Or you can do something that's a little bit more open-ended, and that would be running 200 meters at your 1 mile race pace, and then the next 200 meters at the pace 10 seconds slower, and then repeating that pattern until fatigue. Now that you have several strategies to better pace your race, it's now time to find other ways to get faster. And when sifting through the research, I found 5 unusual training tips that will get you results. You can watch it here, and while we're on the topic of building toughness, you'll love tip number 2, so click on it now and I'll see you there.